she's not gonna. No, she's not gonna make us.
You don't need to tell your mother what I said. Get back on this screen. Turn your camera on now! Send them out of the room! Send those two girls out of that room! Now! Don't say a word, just send them out of the room. Oh, and go ahead and put yourself on mute now.
So, Bostic, where you at?
Here.
All right, Bostic's here. All right, so we'll start with number 9. You ready, Bostic?
Yep.
Number 9, Delonzo Riley, 24 PI 004136. There's a $7,500 good bond as of July the 3rd, 2024, 141 days without indictment, and its possession of a scheduled controlled 2 substance. It was allegedly 30 pills of fentanyl.
18 cycle on old schedule 1 in 2010, 2 FTAs 23 and 15 of battery, family violence in 2014, open case for theft by taking 23 CP 220151. Nothing further.
All right, go ahead, Ms. Gibson.
Yes, Judge. Mr. Riley is 50 years old. He's been in Atlanta since about 2010. He is from Fort Valley, Georgia, though. He's been in Georgia his whole life. He does have a good apartment at 2135 Godby Road, and he lives there. It's him and his daughters. Not to get into the facts of the case, but the reason that Mr. Riley got involved with fentanyl was because of an injury that he sustained, and there were issues that Mr. Riley had to address, and we would like to get him out to potentially get him into some sort of outpatient rehab. I've been in touch with both his parents, and they are willing to help him when he gets out. He did graduate from Forest Park High School here in Georgia. I will be using social services in my office to help him get housing if he has in fact lost that apartment. I've also spoken with his parents, and they are willing to help take him in until he can get back on his feet. He will certainly be able to get housing, though, through my social services. We will also help him secure a job because of the time that he has been in custody. He probably no longer has his job where he was working at the Chevron. He's a mobile mechanic. He goes around to different locations and repairs cars, does maintenance inside, specifically laundromats at different places, specifically the Chevron. But he does also go to World Changes Church. He'd like to get back there, get his life back on the right track. And we would ask that, since his bond has been at $7,500 for such a considerable amount of time, and he has still not been able to make it, that his aggregate bond be reduced to $2,000, Judge.
All right. So he has that companion case, 24 SC 004215. I don't know what those charges are. Does he have bond on that?
I believe so. I'm going to check right now. I'm pretty sure the only thing holding him is this case.
All right.
But that was the only other case I saw that was open for him. Is that one still open?
Well, it was
I think
the other
that
day.
one might be closed.
I mean, well, I prepped my calendar like last week.
That was Mr.
I'm looking into it right now, Judge.
All right. Sorry.
If someone sneezed.
All right, Ms. Rosenbaum, what to say you while she's looking that up?
Well, Judge, I guess Fort Valley is where Peach County is, because he has several convictions going back all the way to 1996 for various offenses, mostly theft. Has some Bleckley County in there too, where he had a bond forfeiture back in 1999. I don't know if that's neighboring. Suspended license, nothing really significant. He does have a drug conviction out of Fulton County from 2010 for actually got first offender in 10 SC 90197. I'd be very surprised if he was not required to have some drug treatment as a result of that incident, but I can't tell that to the held that to the court now as a certainty. What's more concerning is these failures to appear that he has from December of 2015 on drug charges, shoplifting charges. Looks like that was for 16 CR 0000105D out of state court, which he was eventually convicted for. And another failure to appear in September of 2023 for take it for these charges. So he's what I heard the defense saying is oh, I'm sorry, I'll start my video. I'm sorry, Judge. What I hear the defense saying is he's really ready to do right now, and we're looking for a rehab program for him. So again, I would ask that no action be taken. He did have pending felony charges, that 24 SC 004215 at the time of the arrest, has prior convictions and 2 prior failures to appear. So I wish him well and hope he does well going to rehab if this is the first time or more than the first time. But until they have that program in place, Your Honor, it would be the state's position that certainly the bond not be reduced, and that he wouldn't be a good candidate for bond regardless, but certainly not that it be reduced until they have some program in place that can be verified.
Ms. Gibson, he can go down and live with his parents in Peach County?
He can, and he also has a grown daughter that lives here in Atlanta. He has a 35-year-old daughter. He also has a 17-year-old, 19-year-old, 14-year-old, and 12-year-old. The youngest 3 teenagers rely on him. He has been in 141 days on a singular count of possession of drugs. So I would ask that that $7,500 be reduced drastically, considering the amount of time he's been in with no indictment, and it's 1 count, Judge.
All right.
Except that he's been indicted on another case, but
But he can live in Peach County. You live in Peach County, sir? Thumbs up or thumbs down? Outstanding. No drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons, no replicas of weapons. Stay away from 2216 Godby Road in College Park. No drugs unless prescribed. You carry them in their container. You don't carry them in a little Ziploc baggie, okay? And provide that address where you'll be living in Peach County. You have to provide that. Make sure that the court has update of it, because all your notices will be sent there to Peach County, and then you stay out of Fulton County unless you're here for court or to see your lawyer. That's the only reason you darken the doors of Fulton County. $5,000. Best of luck to you, sir. Yes,
Judge, could you include random drug screens as well?
Ms. Gibson?
Judge, I would ask that that not be added, because I do know through pretrial, they have to pay every time they go to get a random drug screen. Mr. Riley's been in for 141 days. He's going to have to get back on his feet. If he were to be caught with any sort of substance or drug again, he knows that he will be brought back to whatever jail of the county he's arrested in. So we would ask that that not be a requirement solely because of the cost.
If he were to be caught was the key phrase there, not if he's using it and doesn't happen to be called in for a drug test. That's the state's concern, Your Honor, based on his history.
Well, I'll tell you what, if they do it, they could probably do it down there in Peach County, but you're going to stay out of Fulton County. Do you understand me, sir? Buy snacks before you ever cross that Fulton County line. Leave. If you got to get gas, you can get it in Clayton County or somewhere else, but not in Fulton County. Best of luck to you, sir. What about?
And Judge, you said 5,000?
Yes, ma'am. All right. Do we have Jennifer Nolton? Jennifer Nolton. There we go. All right. This is position 6, Bostic. 24 PI 004815, 116 days without an indictment on armed robbery. There's a $20,000 bond as of July the 31st. Right.
6 for
First,
prior
Judge, I'm
arrest.
sorry. What number is that? Oh,
Number
okay.
6.
6 prior arrests. First offender terroristic threats 2018, sealed in 2022. No felony convictions.
All right. Go ahead, Ms. Gibson.
Yes, Judge, if you'd give me one moment to switch my files over. Okay, Judge. Miss Nolton is 37 years old. She was born and raised in Atlanta. She's a high school graduate. She also went to the Everett Institute, where she received her certificate in medical assistancy. She has 4 children, 19, 17, an 11-year-old who has autism, and an 8-year-old. She is the primary caretaker for those children, and her 11-year-old who has autism has been struggling since his mom has been gone out of the home. She has a good address where she lives with her 8 and 11-year-old at 766 South Avenue. That's in Forest Park. It's her grandmother's house. So she does have someone helping with her children right now. However, she is the one that knows her kids, knows how to take care of them, especially that 11-year-old. She works at UPS. She's been down there at Fulton Industrial Boulevard for about 5 years. She also works seasonally at Spring Halloween and also does DoorDash just to make sure that she is providing for her family. I would ask that, considering her lack or limited history and no felony convictions, I didn't hear any FTAs, that her bond be reduced to 10,000 on this case and 10,000 on her other case as well. She has 2 cases on the calendar.
Oh, yep, I'm sorry. Let me put that one on there real quick. I didn't have those two together. I'm sorry. 24 PI 004814 hijacking a motor vehicle, and that's got a $20,000 bond. All right, what says the state?
Well, Your Honor, she might have been better off staying home with her children rather than being out with her co-defendant Madison, that she was staying at a local hotel with, Isaiah Madison, that she was arrested for armed robbery and hijacking a vehicle. At the time, she was under sentence from Douglas County, 17 CR 007918. Might be for terroristic threats that Ms. Bostic mentioned, but she was in fact on probation. Then she picks up a capital offense and another violent offense and comes in and tries to use her children as a reason why she should be let out, when the fact is it appears that she was spending more time with her boyfriend and co-defendant than she was at home with her children. So, I guess it's a standard trope, but she has serious, including capital offense here. $10,000 for each of those is certainly reasonable. I would imagine that once the case gets indicted, there may be some additional charges as to weapons. She was already on probation when this occurred. I mean, I don't know what standard is being used for these proceedings these days. I'm kind of new to it, but just looking at it objectively as a prosecutor, it gives me pause. And I understand the court's going to do what the court's going to do, so I'll stop talking.
All right,
Judge,
so
I would just add that these are allegations. There's no evidence so far that shows that Miss Nolton committed these crimes or was at the scene of these crimes. She's merely held on probable cause. So I would argue with the state's contention that she was there doing all these things away from her children.
Judge, I'm very familiar with the concept of presumption of innocence, but I wouldn't make that statement unless I felt pretty confident about the amount of evidence that I've reviewed before the hearing against this defendant. And I'm not sure, maybe defense counsel doesn't have everything that I looked at.
So is she going to live in Forest Park, Miss Gibson?
Yes, Judge.
Okay, that's Clayton County. All right, so position 6 on the armed robbery, ending in 4815. No drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons, no replicas of weapons, no further contact with Raymond Madden, Madden, or Lucien Octavian, Lucienne, last name Octavien. Stay away from 895 Holcomb Bridge Road in Roswell. Also, no further contact with Isaiah Madison. And you're going to have a 24-hour curfew. Court, lawyer, medical, employment. You have to supply the name of your employer, proof of employment, schedule, and the exact location you'll be working. Stay out of Fulton County. Don't reason you come
Your
back.
Honor, this is Dorsey.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm sorry, but one of the victims wanted me to relay something to the court.
Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Ms. Dorsey.
It's okay. The Lucinia Octavian, she wanted me to let you know that she wants, if the victim is out, if the defendant is released, to stay far away from her.
Gotcha. What about the other one, which I think is?
Frederick Jackson, it was 2 attempts made, but no response.
Okay. All right, so like I said, you got that 24-hour court for your court, lawyer, medical. You have to supply the name of your employer, proof of employment, schedule, and the last location and the location you'll be working. Stay out of Fulton County. The only reason you darken the doors of Fulton County, ma'am, is court or to see your lawyer. Be careful on 285 if you're going somewhere, but unless your doctor's there. First of all, you shouldn't be on 285. But second of all, that could be a violation of your bond condition. So right now,
Judge, is that an ankle monitor as well?
no, we're gonna give her a chance. 19,000. We're not doing it much, but put her back on for November 21st. All right, and on the second one ending in 4814, no drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons, no replicas of weapons. Stay away from 1500 Riverwood Lane in Roswell, Georgia. No further contact with your co-defendant, Isaiah Madison. No driving unless your bond is modified. You're going to have that 24-hour curfew, court, lawyer, medical, employment. That includes medical for your children if you're the only one that can take them, ma'am. And stay outside of Fulton County unless you're here for court or to see your lawyer. Do not come back to Fulton County. I'll reduce that 19,000. So put it back up. Put one of these back on for the 21st. Best of luck to you, ma'am. All right. What about Trinicia Posie? You got hers? All right.
Judge, you can make me co-host.
Oh, sir, I didn't need to do that yet. I thought I did. Bostic got me confused. All right. So we got, Mr. Dobbs got a little haircut. All right, Mr. Dobbs.
Who's
Thank you.
next? Judge, I didn't hear who's next. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, I said Mr. Dobbs got a haircut. It'd be position 4. Trinicia Posie.
There we go.
Number 4, 24 PI 003732, 158 days without indictment. Got a $29,000 good bond as of August the 27th. We got ag assault, ag battery, owner of dangerous dog or permit dog to be off property, and aggravated battery. Pre-trial.
13 cycles, prior batteries in 19, 13, and 10, history of probation violation, FTA in 2013, open case 24, SC 002810 for felony obstruction. Nothing further.
All right, go ahead, Mr. Dobbs.
Thank you, Judge. Miss Posie is 38 years old. She previously had an address on Boulder Park Drive, but our plan now is to get her into a inpatient program, NIA, whole way housing inpatient program. Miss Posie has been working with Women on the Rise. Miss Trinilyn Browning from Women on the Rise, I believe, is on the call or was earlier. I'm not sure if she still is. I don't see her now. I did see her on here earlier, but we've been working with Women on the Rise to try to get Miss Posie into this inpatient program. She's been living in the metro Atlanta area for 13 years after moving here from New Jersey. She has obtained a GED. She does have 5 children and 1 grandchild who do all live locally. So she does have strong ties to the area, Judge. The problems that we're having right now with getting her secured with a placement in this program is that we need an official release date, and we're also going to have to use the bail project for Ms. Posie because she has no one to post her bond. So, I mean, the only way that we, can secure any sort of release for her in the pre-indictment stage is to get the bond reduced to an amount that the bail project would pay, and then work with the inpatient program to get an official release date. And then the bail project would, of course, have to verify through the program that she would be going there. They would not post any bond without that verification. Judge, we are, attempting to get Ms. Posie in a position where she can better herself and her life. She has been in at this point as a legally innocent person for quite a bit of time. For all of those reasons, I'm asking for a very large reduction in her bond to $5,000. No objection to a county paid ankle monitor and I can find out I'm just now realizing that I don't have the address of the program, but I can get the address of the program and we can put a 24-hour curfew with the normal exceptions to that program. Thank you.
So if she's not in the program, where will she live?
I believe, well, at this point, I'm not even sure if she could go back to the Boulder Park address, Judge. I think it would either be the program or homelessness. Miss Posie does have her finger up. If we could take Miss Posie off.
Could go back there.
Off mute.
Can you go back, thumbs up or thumbs down? Okay, she said she.
Okay.
Is that in Fulton County?
Yes, I believe Boulder Park Drive is in Fulton County, Judge.
All right. What says the state?
Judge, I know it sounds like a broken record. These kids don't even know what records are, but why don't we wait until we have a program? Because I see that the first bond was no bond on 5/27/24. The defendant is charged in this case with aggravated assault. The allegations, I understand the presumption of innocence. I did graduate from law school and passed the bar, are that, according to the warrant, that she stabbed someone and put her foot on his neck and started punching him repeatedly. So a violent offense for which she received no bond initially because she was a significant danger to the victim. If I understand the law, especially I think it's the Wiggum case, I could be wrong, Wimbush, that's what it is. There have to be some changed circumstances. Haven't heard any other than she doesn't have a place to live. On June 14th of 2024, she was given a $35,000 bond. Still no, I don't see that the significant danger change between those two is not reflected on the bond order, nor is it on the bond order from 8/27/24, where she received a $29,000 bond, must join and participate in Women on the Rise. That was on August 27th, so that's August, September, 2 months ago. And there's still, I don't know if she's in that program or if she has to have a date to get out. I don't know. It sounds kind of like a dog chasing its tail. But she had supposed to have an ankle monitor in 24 SC 002810, where she is charged with felony obstruction, had a $10,000 bond. And on November 1st of 2022, she was required to have an ankle monitor at that time. She had an open case for aggravated assault when she was charged in that case. I don't know if I already mentioned her open case that she had 23 CP 222026. From September of 2023, also for aggravated assault for allegedly injuring someone with a box cutter. And so I'm not sure what the status of that is, Your Honor. Again, just to say, let her out because she's been in a certain number of days seems to me not really to be in the best interest of all the citizens of Fulton County, although it may be in the best interest of Ms. Posie. And so again, this is the state's position that if she's already supposed to be on an ankle monitor, she's gone from no bond to $5,000, or they're asking for a $5,000 bond. I'm not sure what the current bond is, without having to show any changed circumstances that she's no longer a danger to the community, which the state would contend she is, as demonstrated by the offenses she's been charged with in the last year or so.
Ms. Jones, any contact with the victim?
Your Honor, 2 attempts were made on 10/27, 10/29, and a text message as well.
Okay.
And Judge, I would just like to briefly respond that the change in circumstances would be that if we can secure an amount that we can get bail assistance for, she will be getting inpatient treatment. So that would be the change in circumstances. And I also ask the court to consider in setting bond that there's been no victim contact after all this time. Thank you.
And again, Your Honor, I would ask that there be a program in place before she's released to the street, because that doesn't seem to work for her, but that's just the state's position.
All right. No further contact with Claude Hicks, HICKS. Stay away from 3061 Martin Luther King Jr. Drive in Atlanta. No drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons, no replicas of weapons. You're going to have that 24-hour curfew, court, lawyer, medical, and participation in Women on the Rise. So you must enter Women on the Rise and participate in any treatment programs and complete them. Let's see. You have that 24-hour curfew, right? So I'm only.
What about ankle monitor confirmation if she's not already on one for the other case?
Yeah, well, she's not. I guess she's not on. She's here now, but ankle monitor paid by the.
Those other 2 aggravated assault cases, judges, are closed. Her only open case is the obstruction case that's indicted to Judge Edwards.
All right.
So it's already been indicted.
All right. Yeah. So ankle monitor paid for by the county if it funds are involved. You got 10,000, 7,000, 2,000, and 7,000. Best of luck to you, ma'am. All right, Demetrius Madison. All right, this is position 2, Bostic. Demetrius Madison. 24 PI 000013, 231 days without indictment. Looks like there's a $1,500 good bond as of 8/28. It was a consent bond on 8/28 for $1,500 for possession of cocaine and possession of marijuana less than an ounce, because I guess he was booted off the pretrial.
Judge, 10 cycles OVM FTA in 2019, disorderly conduct, 3 times 3 in 2019. Open case, possession of cocaine, 24 PI 00013, and 24 SC 002889, possession of meth with the intent to use firearm by obstruction, misdemeanor possession 1 or 2 with the intent, 3 counts. On probation, 24 SC 00780, entering auto obstruction, ag assault with the intent, not obstruction, ag assault with the intent with a deadly weapon, firearm during sentence 6/6/24, 1 year confinement, 5 years probation, 4 years suspended, nothing further.
All right, go ahead, Mr. Dobbs.
Thank you, Judge. Mr. Madison is 38 years old. He's a lifelong resident of the metro Atlanta area. He has a address of 4076 Fairburn Avenue in Southwest Atlanta.
Yeah, I'm just concerned about the oil change.
Go ahead.
Where he resides with his wife and his sister. He has obtained a GED. He takes prescription medication for issues with his heart. At the time of his arrest, he was employed at a junk removal company. Judge, he has been in for quite a bit of time. The charges on this case, as far as felonies go, they're not violent or theft or sale offenses. For those reasons, Judge, we're asking for a modification on this case to a UJR jail on the misdemeanor marijuana and a conversion from $1,000 good bond on the possession of cocaine to $1,000 through the sheriff's 10% program. Thank you.
All right, what says the state?
Judge, what was the date of the consent order that you mentioned?
August 28th.
Okay. And that was 2 months ago? Again, didn't hear any other changed circumstances, and I think that Ms. Bostic went through this, but she's so fast, I want to make sure that I cover them, that the defendant, at least at the time that I went through it a couple of days ago, was on probation for one case, aggravated assault with a deadly weapon in 24 SC 000780 with an offense date of 5/27/22, and that's going to be more significant in a moment. He has an open case for trafficking in cocaine, possession of meth with intent to distribute, and a firearm. And that's in 24 SC 002889. He also had a case for aggravated assault and firearm by felon in 23 CP 216539 for that was DWAP'd at the end of June of 2023 because of an officer no-show, but I believe is still within the statute of limitations. He has had, let me say, a couple of cases where he was charged with drugs that were reduced to misdemeanors. He does have a conviction from 2003 for manslaughter, which he received a sentence of 20 years to serve in 02 SC 07428. And he was released from prison on those charges in 2020. And since then, he has picked up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cases. I believe this one not involving a firearm, but the other ones do. So $1,500 bond is, I would suggest, a gift from his guardian angel, and I have not heard anything other than the fact that he can't make something substantially below a reasonable bond, change circumstances. Again, I don't see any basis for lowering the bond any further. Not if the state is concerned about the likelihood of committing further offenses while under sentence or out on bond. So that's the state's position. I would also mention that before that, he was in prison from 2004 to 2018, which math is not my thing, but he was in for about 12 years and then got out in January of 2018 and went back in June of 2019 and just got out in December of 2020 and started picking up offenses with firearms and drugs and aggravated assaults.
All right.
That's all for the state.
And
Unless there's any notes from the victim.
And we would just state that what he can afford is to be considered by the court for bond. So that would be the basis that we're stating. Thank you.
All right. No drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons, no replicas of weapons. And he's going to live in Fulton County?
Correct, Judge.
Random screens?
Stay away from Camp Creek Marketplace. That's 3660 Marketplace Boulevard. Like I said, no drugs, no alcohol, no weapons. Let me see if I missed anything.
And Judge, I'm not sure if you heard me. I'm requesting on behalf of the state that he also be subjected to random drug screens.
All right, random drug screens.
And I'll just object to that because he's a public defender client and he would have to pay for that.
All right, so that with I'll leave cocaine at 1,000, do the marijuana at 50. Thank you. Best of luck to you, sir. All right, we're back. Nicholas Ferk. Is it the last one for you? Oh no, you got this one too.
I got Ferk.
All right.
Yes.
All right, position 3, Nicholas Ferk, 24 PI 000679, 277 days without indictment. There's a $35,000 good bond as of August the 27th for armed robbery not resulting in serious bodily injury. Ag assault not resulting in seriously bodily injury, armed robbery and possession of a firearm or knife during the commission of a felony. 277 days. Right.
Ferk in South Carolina, there's an armed robbery, burglary with weapon in 2014, common law robbery in 2012, Florida 1 cycle, Georgia 8 cycle, battery family violence in 22, FTA in 22, history of criminal trespass, probation for battery, cruelty in the third, 22 SCR 00733 4D, sentence 5/22/23 for 12 months, and on probation also for simple assault, criminal trespass, 22 CR 001810D, sentence 5/22/23, 12 months, nothing further.
All right. Go ahead, Mr. Dobbs.
Mr. Ferk is 32 years old. He has been in jail without indictment for 214 days. He's lived in Georgia for the past 3 years. He was residing here with his child and the mother of his child. If released, he would return home to Orangeburg, South Carolina, and reside with his mother at 320 Wade Court. At the time of his arrest, he was working as a door dasher. He was also operating a social media management business as well, which of course no longer exists because of his time in jail. Judge, we have no objection to a county paid ankle monitor to make sure that he is staying away from the complaining witness on this case. Mr. Ferk has no issues staying away from her. My understanding, based on Attorney Guest's notes, is that the complaining witness is in favor of Mr. Ferk's bond being reduced. If that is, we can have victim contact from Ms. Jones, and she can correct me if that is not correct. But that is what I have here. And for those reasons, Judge, his bond is currently at $35,000. I would ask for a reduction to $20,000. Thank you.
All right, Ms. Jones.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, Judge.
Any contact with, I think it's Tyreek Walden?
Yes, Your Honor. I did make contact with her, and she stated that she doesn't have a problem with the defendant receiving a bond.
All right. What says the state?
State has a big problem with it, Your Honor. This is his 4th case against the same victim in 2 years, and it makes me sad to hear that I hope she's getting treatment and is not exhibiting the signs of chronic domestic abuse victims. This is his 4th case against this same victim in 4 years, and his 4th bond hearing in 6 months. And he just keeps assaulting this victim, and she keeps enabling him. And this is one of those situations where it's up to us as the state in peri parentis or loco parentis to protect this woman and the rest of society in spite of herself. $35,000 based on his record, which includes convictions against this same victim from July of 2022. He's under sentence for family violence battery when this offense occurred for the same victim. He has a subsequent offense on the same victim, 24 CR 000583. I believe that's this case that was bound over. to state court? And at what point do we keep him away from her? He's already supposed to be on an ankle monitor. And if the court believes that that's going to prevent him from further assaulting or intimidating this witness, the state definitely does not share that view, Your Honor. And I understand, again, presumption of innocence and the state's motivation to move people out of the jail. But at what point do we step in and protect this woman? That's the state's position. I would just like to be on record raising that issue.
All right.
And then we would just state that the state should indict the case very soon. Thank you.
All right. What's your opinion about him going to South Carolina?
I'm not sure. Are you asking me, Judge?
Yes, ma'am. What's the state's position?
I think he's going to give every promise and assurance of doing so. And before the ink is dry on the order, that he will be at least contacting this victim. If you're asking what I think, Your Honor, that's what I think based on what's on the record before me.
All right. No drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons, no replicas of weapons. Stay away from 1212 Utoy Springs Drive in the city of South Fulton. Stay out of Fulton County unless you're here for court or to see your lawyer. Must supply that address and keep it updated upon release. Also, you're going to have a 24-hour curfew. Court, lawyer, medical. That's the only reason you leave your house. Court, lawyer, and medical. Unless you're here for court, you're going to stay out of the state of Georgia. The only county you can come to the state of Georgia in is Dade County, Georgia. Way up in the northwest county of Georgia, and there's not a whole bunch there to see, although it's a lovely county. So stay out of the state of Georgia with the exception of Dade County, and stay out of Fulton County. There'll be an ankle monitor paid for by the county if those funds are available. $12,000, $12,000, and $9,000. Best of luck to you, sir. You could lead a booth. Future Tillery. Wave your hand if you're future Tillery. All right, Mr. Tillery. I think got Mr. Powers here. All right, it's position 10, 11, and 12. 24 PI 004-143, 153 days without indictment. Looks like there's no bond as of 6/11/24 for 2 counts of entering auto with intent to commit a theft or a felony. As of June the 6th, 153 days without indictment. You also have 24 PI 004-550. Got no bond as of 6/26 for entering auto with intent to commit a theft or a felony. Unlawful person employed by, associate with criminal street gang to participate in criminal street gang activity. Entering an auto with intent to commit a theft or a felony. And unlawful for a person employed by, associate with criminal street gang to conduct or participate in criminal street gang activity. And that's no bond. You also got 24 PI 004-551, 153 days without indictment, no bond as of June 26th on theft by taking felony.
Just in regards to the defendant, non-cycles theft by receiving in 2016 on probation and allowance for theft by receiving stolen property, Schedule 1 or 1 substance, 4/26/23, 5 years, 11 months. Probation, 11 months confinement, open case in Fulton, ag assault, firearm during firearm by an inmate, 23 CP 220053. There's a battery and kidnapping and riot, 23 CP 219620. Open capital offense, 24004451. Felony capital, 3 counts, ag assault with a deadly weapon, 2 counts, criminal damage to property, firearm during cruelty, and first 2 counts, Judge Carnesale, nothing further. He's in custody on no bond on that case.
No bond on that one. Okay. Go ahead, Ms. Gibson.
Yes, Judge, I do understand that Mr. Tillery has a lot of open cases and some history that you've heard. However, he is entitled to bond on the 3 cases before you tonight. 153 days without indictment and without bond on the first case, 126 days without indictment and without bond on the following 2. Mr. Tillery is 20 years old. He's lived in Atlanta his entire life. He got his GED at 16 years old. He has a good address here in Fulton County where he lives with his godmother, Martrice Brown, his brother, and 3 sisters. He is in touch with his biological mom. However, he was not raised by his biological mom. She lives in Ellenwood. He does have a relationship with her. His father, unfortunately, passed away June 11th of 2024, and he has been dealing with that loss while in custody. While we know that these bonds will not get him out as he's being held on no bond on his other cases, we would ask for a bond to be set fairly low on each of these. On the case ending in 4143, 5,000 total. On the case ending in 4550, 10,000 total. And on the case ending in 4551, 2,500 total.
All right, Ms. Dorsey, has there been any contact with any of the victims in any of the 3 cases?
Yes, Judge, it was 2 attempts made, and on one, they said no bond.
Okay. All right, go ahead, Mr. Powers.
Thank you, Judge. Obviously, Mr. Tillery is entitled to a bond at this point. We're not arguing that, but we would say that we don't believe it should be a low bond. He is a risk to reoffend, Judge. I think just the fact he has so many open cases shows that. He's possibly a risk to flee the jurisdiction, although maybe not, because he has so many cases and they're all here. So I think just the risk to reoffend is the biggest thing that we're going off of. The reason this case hasn't been indicted yet, because I know that's always an issue, is just because these cases go through 3 different jurisdictions. I'm still trying to sort all that out and get all the evidence I can before I draft the indictment, as well as the fact that we're considering adding more of the gang charges to the cases that don't already have them. So we would just ask that Your Honor set a bond that we would think would be reasonable, and this which would be fairly high.
All right. Let's see, on position 10, ending in 4143, no drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no.
I'm sorry,
weapons.
Judge. I'm sorry, I'm here on his other charges. Can I be heard? I spent a day and a half plowing through his criminal history and the time
Okay.
restraint of his activities.
I'm sorry, I thought Mr. Powers was just handling all of them, but go ahead.
Yeah, he does have gang cases in here as well, and I understand he's on no bond, but he has 7 open cases and 6 more that are still within the statute of limitations, and he is not yet even 21 years of age. And I do, I'm sorry for the loss of his father, but I would suggest to the court that there have been far fewer car break-ins during those 153 days than there were during the time that he was out charged with committing these offenses. His criminal history as an adult, he has a juvenile history as well, starts in May of 2022 when he was arrested in Lowndes County and was released a year later in April of 2023 on probation. So he is still on probation. Somewhere here I had basically how much time he's out between committing new offenses, but he was released in April of 2023, and 9 days later, he was arrested on 23 CP 218261 for armed robbery, stole a brother's gun. I don't know if this is the brother he lives with that was mentioned by the defense counsel, or the brother who was his accomplice in stealing the gun from the 3rd brother. I'm not sure which brother he lives with currently, but that was on May 5th of 2023. So then on June 24th of 2023, he was also charged in 23 CP 21960 while in custody for battery, kidnapping, and riot. Initially had 5,000 no bond and 5,000. Then 16 days later, on July 10th of 2023, another jail incident, aggravated assault, stabbed another inmate with a shank. That's case 23 CP 220053, and was also charged with prohibited item. And I understand that not all these cases are open, but he's been a busy boy in the last couple of years. On July 31st of 2023, had another jail incident, aggravated assault, riot, battery, and kidnap. That was 23 CP 221041. Then October 24th of 2023, his bond was reduced to 40,000 with an ankle monitor and no weapons in 23 CP 219620, and given a 24-hour curfew in that case on November 20th of 2023. And this just underscores the fact why I have no confidence in ankle monitors or 24-hour curfew, because he was in fact arrested wearing an ankle monitor. But I'm not finished yet, Your Honor. In December of 2023, the bond was reduced to 17,000. He was to have no weapons. In January of 24, reduced to 11,000 with an ankle monitor, no weapons, 24-hour curfew, which he's anyway continues to violate. But in April of 2024, released to $10,000. Again, with those same conditions. He was released on April 30th of 2024 with $10,000 and an ankle monitor. And 12 days later, on May 12th of 2024 at 1:14 in the morning, he was not home as considered, and I don't believe getting any medical treatment or other exceptions to the 24-hour curfew. That was in 24 PI 004552. It was later DWAP because of an officer no-show, but at the time he was given no bond as being a significant danger and likely to reoffend. And I would just point out that he's not likely to reoffend. He's pretty much proven that he will continue to reoffend, as occurred on May 21st of 2024 when there was a stolen auto theft by taking charge. May 24th, entering auto, and 24 PI 004143 that is still open. The entering auto and gangs case that Mr. Powers addressed was occurred on May 25th of 2024. He was arrested in South Fulton police for criminal trespass on May 26th of 2024. On May 29th, he was arrested in charges with murder and cruelty to children. These are all 2024, by the way, Your Honor. May 30th of 2024, arrested. Pretrial services reported that he had 3 open cases on probation in Lowndes County and also pending cases. Then June 11th of 2024, 24 PI 004143, Judge Hughes gave him no bond because of high likelihood to reoffend. I have heard no changed circumstances. And in fact, I think his record indicates that it's not a likelihood, but just about a proven fact. Although I understand the presumption of innocence, Ms. Gibson. On June 26th of 2024, that's the case, the incident date for 24 PI 4550, which is on the calendar and has no bond because of being a significant danger and likely to reoffend, and there have been no changes. And as recently as August 7th of 2024, his motion to modify bond in 24 PI 004550 and 4551 were denied by Judge Brooks. I hope this is not a case of simply judge shopping, and also hope that, again, I appreciate you letting me be heard and make a record. I'm sure it's excruciating for all involved, but these are extensive criminal histories. And as I've noted on his no bond orders, he is not even 21 years old. He has 9 cycles as an adult. And I mean, at what point do we protect the citizens of Fulton County? That's the state's position. Thank you.
All right. So anything else, Ms. Gibson?
Judge, now that the dead horse has been beaten, I will say that these bonds will not get Mr. Tillery out. I would like to make that known. He does still have no bond on other cases that are being handled by another attorney in my office. He is entitled to bond on these cases. There is no judge shopping. This is simply how bond motions are heard when they are filed up until, sadly, when Judge Night Court will end and we won't get the pleasure of being with you anymore. But he is entitled to these bonds. So I would like to note that for the record.
All right. On position 10, ending in 4143, no drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons, no replicas of weapons. Stay away from 5570 Old National Highway. No further contact with Dresden, Dresden Jones or James North. You're going to have a 24-hour curfew. Court, lawyer, and the only reason you seek medical attention if you leave in an ambulance. No further contact with any gang members. Breaking 5 News, aka the Casket Gang. No social media. So I'll do 10,000 and 10,000.
He has 3 cases.
Yeah, on position 11, ending in 4550. No drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons, no replicas of weapons. Let me see, we'll make sure I don't miss anything. Stay away from 6175 Old National Highway. No drugs. Oh, yeah. No social media. No further contact with any gang members, gang affiliates, somebody wanting to be their gang or our gang, thinking they're a gang. That's Breaking News 5, aka the Casket Gang or any other gangs. No social media. 24-hour curfew. Court, lawyer. You leave for the hospital. You go in an ambulance. And you'll have that ankle monitor paid for by the county. Sir, when I say 24-hour curfew, I mean 24-hour curfew. So unless you were at court to see your lawyer, and that's only Monday through Friday, period. All right. So entering auto 10, unlawful gang, gang, I'll do 100,000 on the gang charge, 10 on the vehicles, and another 100,000. So 10,000, 100,000, 10,000, 100,000. Now on position 12, ending in 4551, no drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons, no replicas of weapons. Stay away from 3670 Camp Creek Parkway. No further contact with Kamani Davis. And you're going to have an ankle monitor paid for by the county with a 24-hour curfew. Court, lawyer, medical, you leave in an ambulance. All right. Best of luck to you, sir. You can leave the booth. What? All right. Let's see. Wait a minute. Where's Miss Kennebrew?
I am here, Your Honor. I apologize. It's completely slipped my mind that it was 5 o'clock or after 5.
Oh, you having a good time. That's all right. Last one is
I am
position.
so ready for night court to be over. I apologize.
Every time I have it in day court, I'm bringing you in there, Miss Kennebrew.
Judge, I'm sorry, did you
Don't
already
do
handle,
that.
I'm sorry, did you already handle position 7, Jason Atkinson? I think that you
That's
and
been
Ms.
indicted.
Okay,
It's indicted, so we're handling position 8.
all right, just wanted to make sure, thank you.
Yeah, 24 PI 005-526, Dwan Hendricks. That's you, sir. Wave your hand.
Yes, that's him.
Gotcha. Okay. So you got no bond as of 8/23/2024, 90 days without indictment. You got kidnapping, ag assault, false imprisonment, reckless driving, improper, erratic lane change, and willful obstruction of police officers.
5 cycles would have violent felonies in the 90s. Open case 24 CR 005370, battery, family violence, no further contact with Rhonda Hendricks, but I believe the same victim as Ms. Rhonda Johnson. And he was to stay away from her residence and her job. Last arrest was in 97, nothing further.
Go ahead, Miss Kennebrew.
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Hendricks is 54 years of age. He is a lifelong Georgia resident. He does have his entire family in support of him here, include his granddaughter and his children. He did graduate from high school. He also was a military vet. He was in the Marines and he was medically discharged. Prior to being arrested, he was working at the Atlanta airport as a driver with the Atlanta shuttle. And he had also gotten a new job with North Carolina Power and was intending on moving to Charlotte for better employment opportunities. Mr. Hendricks has been in custody for 90 days, so he is entitled to a bond on today. We would be requesting that a reasonable bond is set that does not exceed $70,000 total for all 6 charges.
All right. Any contact with the victim, Ms. Jones?
Yes, Your Honor. Miss Rhonda Johnson stated that she does not want him to have a bond. She said that she's afraid for the safety of herself and the community.
All right. All right, go ahead, Ms. Rosenbaum.
Yes, Your Honor, the good news is this is the last time you have to hear from me today. But his record is not as extensive as the others we've dealt with, but the concern is that I believe it's the same victim that he has a prior aggravated assault charge for that pretrial services kind of rattled off as in the 90s, but the fact is he spent the 90s in prison for that offense. So the fact that his offenses may be older is because he was in state custody for an aggravated assault against the same victim. Originally, he received a split bond of no bond for the kidnapping, ag assault, and false imprisonment, and I believe $21,000. He did receive a bond back in August of 2024. The no bonds were based on being a significant danger to the victim, and I haven't heard anything that has changed, although they are presumed innocent. My understanding was we were still following the law as announced by Ayala and its progeny, and that the defendant had to satisfy all of those conditions. I know those charges have been reduced. He was still under a no bond from August 23rd of 2024, a significant danger to the victim. And again, I'm here, also has, according to the pretrial services report, bail restricted charges, second or subsequent offense conviction, or 2 or more failures to appear in a 5-year period. And I'm just not hearing, other than the fact that he has family here and is a veteran, and I appreciate his service, of how that makes him a good candidate for bond, or why the $70,000 charge, $70,000 bond would be adequate. But I'm sure the court will impose sufficient restrictions if that bond is reduced to, I don't know how we safeguard this woman any further, but I'll leave it to the court to fashion that.
And if I may respond, Your Honor, he has been in custody for 90 days. So due to Georgia statute and Georgia law, he is entitled to a bond on today. Mr. Hendricks has a very limited criminal history. And I'd also object to the state, as well as pretrial, mentioning that the person is Rhonda Johnson unless they have verifiable information to prove that it is the same alleged victim. That is speculation. So we would just be reiterating our request of a $70,000 bond, since he is entitled to a bond, since the state has not indicted the case within 90 days.
And Judge, I don't make this stuff up, but in the warrant, she's referred to as Rhonda Johnson Hendricks. So I think it's a reasonable inference. We haven't done DNA samples, but I think it's a reasonable inference that it's the same Donna Johnson or Jonna Hendricks.
I said it because it says wife.
Oh, is this still going to live in Decatur, Ms. Kennebrew?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. No drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons, no replicas of weapons. Absolutely no contact whatsoever with Miss Rhonda Johnson. Stay out of Fulton County, sir. The only reason you come back to Fulton County is quarter to see your lawyer. So that's only Monday through Friday, 8:30 to 5. So we got 50,000, 50,000, 20,000, 10,000, 2,000, and 5,000. So 50,000, 50,000, 20,000, 10,000, 2,000, 5,000. Sir, that also means any contact from jail as of this date and beforehand, you should have no contact. Best of luck to you, sir.